Alright, the last new thing for our test, Unit 3B, is the rational root theorem. Alright, and what the rational root theorem does is it finds all possible rational solutions. Alright, so when you're given a polynomial, there's billions and billions of possible, every number imaginable is a possible solution. The rational root theorem takes that and just narrows it down to 2 to 10 solutions. Alright, so he's okay, of all the billions of solutions that might be, it's only it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these 10. Alright, so you're getting your subset of possible solutions down from billions down to just 10. Or something, maybe 3 or 4, but narrowing it down quite a bit. Alright, just a reminder, solutions, that's roots, or zeros. Alright, so it's the rational solution theorem, rational zero theorem, rational root theorem. Okay, and what it actually is P divided by Q, where P is every factor of the constant, and Q is every factor of the leading coefficient. Alright, so the first number and the last number. Alright, so those are the only ones we're worrying about. Alright, if we divide one by the other, or divide the factors of one divided by the factors of the other, then you'll get every possible solution. So let's say we have 2x to the third, or 2x squared, doesn't really matter, 2x squared plus 9x minus 3 is equal to 0. Alright, so we identify our P are the factors of the constant. Well, our constant is -3. So what are the factors of -3? Alright, well, we could do 1 times -3. That's one set of factors. 2 factors, but one set. Or we could do -1 times +3. So we end up having 4 factors of -3. And then Q, every factor of the leading coefficient. Our leading coefficient is 2. Alright, and we could do 1 times 2. We could also do -1 times -2. So both of them end up having 4 factors. Okay, and then here's where so far that's pretty simple. The next step, where we actually do P divided by Q, is where people start making mistakes. You're going to take every factor of the constant and divide it by every factor of the leading coefficient. So let's just say I just grab 1. Let's grab the first factor of the constant, 1. It needs to get divided by every factor of the leading coefficient. So this 1 is going to get divided 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So we're going to have 1 divided by 1. We're going to have 1 divided by 2. We're going to have 1 divided by -1. We're going to have 1 divided by -2. Alright, and so 1 divided by 1 gives me 1. That is a unique solution, so I'm going to go ahead and circle it. We're going to have a bunch of unique solutions here at the beginning. Alright, 1 divided by 2 is just 1 divided by 2. So that's another solution, another possible solution. 1 divided by -1 equals -1. And then 1 divided by -2, we could write that as just -1/2. Alright, so we have 4 solutions just from 4 possible rational solutions from just the 1. Well, what we're going to see is, let's do the -1 next. -1 divided by 1, -1 divided by 2, -1 divided by -1, and -1 divided by -2. Alright, -1 divided by 1 is going to get us -1. Well, we already have that, and we don't need to write -1 twice. So yes, that is a solution, but there's two ways to get it, so really we only need to write it just once. So I'm going to kind of mark through that one. Negative 1/2, we already have that one there. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 equals positive 1. Got that one already. Negative 1 divided by negative 2 is 1/2, and we've got that one already. So if you're doing this all step by step by step, it takes a little bit, but once you kind of get to see the pattern, you realize, okay, I've got +1 and -1, +1 and -1, so I don't need to do this second round because it's just going to come out to be the same. That's what you're going to eventually get to. All right, let's do -3, because we got to do every one of these. So we did this one, we did this one, now we're going here. -3 divided by +1. -3 divided by negative, what do? We went across, so 2. -3 divided by -1, and -3 divided by -2. Alright, -3 divided by 1 gives us -3. That's a new unique solution. -3 divided by 2, that's another unique solution. -3 divided by -1 gives us +3. Alright, there's another new solution. And -3 divided by -2 is just going to give us 3/2. Alright, so we end up having plus and -1, plus and -1/2, plus and -3, plus and -3/2. And we're not done yet, but I already know that it's going to be just like this one, where it's going to be repeats. So if we graph 3 divided by 1, 3 divided by 2, 3 divided by -1, and 3 divided by -2. 3 divided by 1 is 3, so that's, again, not a unique solution. We already have that one. 3 divided by 2, we've got that one already. 3 divided by -1 is -3. We've got that one already. 3 divided by -2 is -3. Same thing. And so it's those same ones. Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 1/2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 3/2. Alright, so out of all of the numbers imaginable, alright, we know that these are the only 8 possible solutions to 2x squared plus 9x minus 3. Alright, if we were going to factor this out, factor by grouping, dividing this out, and do find the solutions, it'd have to be one of the 2 solutions that I'm going to find, because it's x squared. There's going to be 2 solutions. The 2 solutions we're going to find are going to be one of those, or going to be 2 of those 8 solutions. That's what the rational root theorem tells us. All right, let's walk through that again, because kind of the actual finding of it is a little tricky. So if we have, let's go with x to the 3rd minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. All right, the first thing we want to go through is identify, our p and our q. So 6 is our p. We're going to find what are the factors of 6. We've got 1 times 6, 2 times 3. All right, those are the positives, but we have -1 times -6, -2 times -3. All right, so can't forget about the negative versions. And then our q, anything attached here, it's a 1. Well, the only way to multiply to get 1 is 1 times 1, and -1 times -1. Okay, which actually is going to make this a little bit easier, because q is what we're dividing by. We're just going to be dividing by plus or minus 1. All right, so we start off here, 1 divided by 1 is 1. 1 divided by -1 is -1. All right, so did that one. All right, 6. 6 divided by 1 is 6. 6 divided by -1 is negative 6. Right? Did that one. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 2 divided by negative 1 is negative 2. Did that one. 3 divided by 1 is 3. 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3. Another set of unique solutions. Done there. Alright, so I did all the positives. And now when I go back here, because I'm just dividing by a number and its opposite, when I do the opposite, it's going to be all repeats. Negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. I already have that one. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1. Already got that. So that one's done. Negative 6 divided by 1 is negative 6. Negative 6 divided by negative 1, positive 6. Done with that one. Negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 1, positive 2. Negative 3 divided by 1, negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 1, positive 3. Alright, so I end up having plus or minus 1, plus or minus, let's go with 2, plus or minus 3, and plus or minus 6. Alright, those are the only possible solutions of x to the third minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Only possible rational solutions. Okay. Alright, let's go through and try doing 2x to the third plus 7x squared plus 2x minus 3. Alright, try to find all of the possible rational solutions of this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll write the answers down and have the sub put them up after about 5 or so minutes. Give them a try, and then we'll see if we got them right.